I'm back with the hat. Welcome to my second review. I am reviewing Harvest Moon DS Cute. So basically a Harvest Moon DS, but for girls. And this works out perfectly because it just so happens that I am a girl. Yeah, you see? It's already working out for me. A warning before we start, I might be a little bit harsh on this game. See, I bought it after I first played Harvest Moon Island of Happiness. I bought it because I wanted a new Harvest Moon game and it was the cheapest one in the store. And even though Island of Happiness has its own flaws that we'll get to next time, I still found DSQ to be pretty inferior to it. In fact, I hated it so much I shut it off within the first 5 minutes of playing it and went right back to Island of Happiness. But I see now that this was kind of unfair of me. I mean, the newer games improved the series and it kind of spoiled it for me. So I'm gonna go back, give this a fair look over, and see if my original hatred of it was warranted.
Okay, so here's the story, and it's a little bit more complicated than simply paying off a mortgage. After answering some questions to determine your appearance and choosing a totally not inappropriate name for your farm, you are shown sleeping, while the Harvest Goddess talks about how she promised your mom to make you work hard. And the Harvest Goddess pretty much gives up immediately. Then suddenly the Harvest King shows up and gets mad at the Harvest Goddess and calls her lazy, which she totally is. I don't have enough time for a rant right now, but trust me, I'll get to my hatred of the Harvest bitch eventually. Anyway, she makes fun of the Harvest King by calling him bald, so he turns her to stone. Huh. Guess he was channeling King Neptune there. Also, he banishes the Harvest Sprites. But they were being little jackasses too, so I don't think I'll miss them. Then our hero wakes up and the Witch Princess informs her that she has to get back all the Harvest Sprites and rescue the Harvest Goddess. So that's the plan. I'm honestly not too thrilled about having to save the Harvest Goddess, but at least I'll have some fun farming. So starting off, we can see my first problem with this game, the art style. Apparently this art style was pretty normal for the series before Island of Happiness, but everyone just looks weird to me. It's sort of like an old school anime look, and I'm not really a fan of it. Next, the graphics. They are not great. The future installments of the series showed that the DS was capable of much better. And while I would compliment them on being colorful and saying that I can't really complain because it's the second Harvest Moon game on the DS, I know better. After doing some research, I found out that they just recycled the graphics from Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, and that was on the Game Boy. This is starting to feel lazier than the Harvest Goddess. But looks aren't everything. How is the gameplay and content? Starting out, the control pisses me off. They aren't too complicated, but they get annoying pretty fast. A is the button for most interaction. B runs and jumps over obstacles. X eats any food you're currently holding. But then there's the Y button. It takes things you're holding and puts them in your rucksack, aka your inventory. But that's not all. It also uses whatever tool you're holding. Why couldn't A do that? It's like they were so excited about having more buttons to work with, so they decided that every single one had to be used, whether it made sense or not. And I thought the L button was making my character sneeze when she's really whistling for her animals. And the entirety of the controls can also be on the touchscreen. Weird. And the worst part is, you can't run diagonally. Why? This drives me nuts. It's like being locked on a grid. At first I thought it was the emulator I was using, but nope, same way on the DS. So we are already not off to a great start, but those are issues I can get used to. It shouldn't interfere with the game's farming and relationship simulation. The farming in this game is pretty usual for the series. Your field is full of rocks and branches and shit that you need to clear out in order to use it. Once your field is clear, you can make a 3x3 patch of tilled soil with your hoe. Insert sex joke here. But whatever you do, don't till the centerpiece. You won't be able to reach it once your crop starts growing, because apparently you are unable to walk through plants. Great. So plants grow and you ship them. Just make sure to get them in the shipping bin before 5 p.m. So the farming part is pretty normal. Later on in the game you can raise animals like chickens, cows, and sheep. And so on and so forth. If you played a Harvest Moon game before, then you know all this stuff is pretty standard. Now, when you're not farming, you'll probably spend time running around the town, talking to people and shopping. And this is where it gets really bad. This map is so confusing. Instead of it simply having a picture of the character moving along with you on the map screen, the picture just jumps about to spots near where you are. This is ridiculous. Don't tell me they couldn't get the picture to move with me. It can in other games, and just about every Harvest Moon game after this. Next, when first starting to explore the town, have the instruction manual by your side. Excluding the bar, there are no signs to tell you what anything is. No hours of operation displayed for any of the stores either. Nothing. But even worse, there's a bunch of shit in the way from all these other rubbish-filled crop fields. You can jump over it, but tough shit if there are two things in a row. You have to maneuver around it like some kind of puzzle. Whew, sorry. I got carried away. I'm really taking it out on this game. Let's focus on the other aspect of a Harvest Moon game, the relationships. Since this game is for girls, the only romantic options are the town's bachelors. Unless you live in Japan. This is where things got confusing, and while the internet tried to explain it to me, I still don't quite get it. Apparently you can have a best friend instead of a husband, but it got screwed up pretty badly. It was a feature left in from the boys' version Harvest Moon DS. Certain girls could be your best friend, but all the in-game text was the same as if you had married the girl in the boys' version. This included the boy version wedding ceremony and after marriage dialogue. This situation is what I like to call fucking lazy. Can't come up with any best friend conversations? Just copy the guy's version. No one will notice. In the English version, however, you can still view all the events for this friendship, but the girl will not accept your proposal to her, which I guess was to make sure the game didn't cause any controversy in the West. But anyway, let's just focus on the bachelors, because I'm not about to become BFFs with the Harvest Goddess, or this random mermaid that lives in a bathtub in a mad scientist's basement. What? Our bachelors include Carter, Griffin, Gustafa, Marlin, Rock, and a special boy called Sky. I'm already not so thrilled. But wait, there's more! By putting a copy of Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, or More Friends of Mineral Town, into the Game Boy slot, you get 5 more bachelors that will visit your town on certain days. These include Cliff, Gray, Kai, Rick, and Trent. But unfortunately, my sticker-covered DS Lite bit the dust a while ago, and I don't own a copy of that game anyway, so I guess I can kiss all my extra romance options goodbye. Which is a shame, because I really wanted to ask Gray why his name is so stupid. Each guy has things he likes and dislikes, so if you give him something he likes every day, then he will start to like you faster. By the way, every guy's favorite thing is some sort of food. As cliche as that may be, it doesn't change the fact that you can get any of these guys to fall in love with you just by bringing them snacks every day and talking to them. Not a good lesson to teach. Of course, every guy has only 2 lines of conversation per day, and it's usually the same thing every day. And let me tell you, seeing the same text over and over again when you talk to a character gets really old really fast. Anyway, you build up your relationship with a guy and get married. And once you get married, you can have children. And then the game just continues. Forever. Harvest Moon games usually don't have an ending, but I hear if you get to a certain year, the number of the year will stop going up. It's pretty sad that anyone got far enough to find that out. I'm sorry, but after playing through this game, I really cannot recommend it. I mean, there are better games in the Harvest Moon series for people to be playing, and if you're going to use this as your jumping on point, it's probably going to give you a bad impression. Like the bad impression it gave me. And apparently the person who played it before I did. See, I bought this game used, that's why it was so cheap, and there was already a save file on it. The person who had played that save file probably played the equivalent of about an hour's worth of gameplay. After that, I guess they just gave up and traded in. And to be honest, I can't really blame them. But wait, we can't just paint the entire Harvest Moon series in a negative light because of Harvest Moon DS Cute. There are a ton of games, which is why I'm going to be reviewing all of the Harvest Moon games that I've played. Those include Island of Happiness, Sunshine Island, and Tale of Two Towns. So if you want to see those reviews, subscribe to me, and they will be coming out soon. I promise. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.